Hey, welcome back tuning into today's video. We're going to do the summer forecast today, the final one from GazWeatherViz.com. So this is the final and official summer 2014 update. We've done two updates previously through the course of March and April. Find the links to those on the seasonal page if you've got to recap or remind yourself on the past updates. But this is the final one, this is the important one. So we're going to have a look at all the long range models first of all, run through all the seasonal charts, see what they're showing. Then I've got to come to a decision at the end of the video as to what I'm going for. I may agree with these models and have the same idea, or I may deviate a little bit and have my own sort of suggestion about what I think is going to happen. So it'll be very interesting to see at the end of the video what the actual forecast is from GazWeatherViz.com. Now, before I get on with all of the charts, just want to mention the advertising. There's video ads on pages at GazWeatherViz.com. And if you hit play on the video ad, you'll be supporting GazWeatherViz.com. Thanks so much for doing that. The ads really pay for the website. I couldn't have a website without the ads. So thanks for getting involved. Thanks for hitting play. Don't necessarily have to sit and watch the whole thing all the way through. Just hit play, see what the ad is about. You'll be supporting GazWeatherViz. Thanks so much for doing that. The links to all of these models are on my links page, so if there's anything you want to see for yourself in terms of these long range models, just go to the links page, find the model you want to see, click through the link, go off and see the charts for yourself. Thanks so much to the websites for allowing me to use their charts. And we just say enjoy the video. The forecast for the video is going to be kept here at GazWeatherViz.com indefinitely, so if you can't watch it all in one sitting, it's going to be quite a long video, can't watch it all in one go, don't worry, the video will be hanging around the website indefinitely, so you can come back and watch it wherever you want and really just enjoy the video. I hope you find it interesting and informative. So I'm going to start off with the NASA model, the temperature forecast from NASA. We didn't have NASA last month. I couldn't get the link that I've got to go through to the website, but somebody gave me the new link. Thanks so much for to them for doing that. The temperature forecast for the summer is going for a warmer than average summer here in most yellow colours, so these temperatures coming out above average. Not a particularly hot summer, but nevertheless an above average summer being predicted there in terms of the temperature forecast from the NASA model. The precipitation forecast is coming out around average, maybe a slightly drier than average actually, but certainly coming out around the seasonal normal. That could be because the model hasn't really got a signal in terms of the precipitation forecast, or it could be that we are genuinely going to have around average rainfall this summer. Notice most of Central coming out with a drier than average summer in most blue colours, so that is precipitation anomalies below average. But certainly quite a strong sort of signal there for a warmer than average summer from the NASA model. A pretty good start if you want temperatures to be above average this summer. Now, the next model we're going to look at is the JMA, the Japanese. And of course I looked at this last week, so I don't want to dwell on this too much. This is the Northern Hemisphere view, broken down into monthly period 500 millibar height anomalies. So we'll deal with June first of all. Got above average heights here sitting to the west, and going to some sort of area of high pressure around to west. Pretty good signal for June. Winds with that would be generally up from a southerly southeasterly sort of direction. So yeah, I think that's quite a good start to the summer from the Japanese. But if you watched the update last month, I'm sure you did, you'll know that as we go through it deteriorates. So by the time we get through to July, we're in below average heights there in most blue colours around the country. So the deterioration from June to July does take place, and low pressure begins to set up around the country as we go through to July. It's a transitional sort of period. And then as we get through to the final monthly period, which is August, then things are really going downhill. We've still got that area below height sitting around the country, so it's very unsettled, and in fact it's turning more unsettled because the colours are deepening, so a really deep trough is setting up over the country through August. So the idea is that we're starting off okay through June, mainly dry, quite warm, and then things are going downhill through July, and by the time you get through to August, the pattern is really quite poor indeed. So I went through all of the detail with the Japanese model last week, so don't want to dwell too much on it. I'm sure you saw the video last week having a detailed look at the JMA. Now, the next model we're going to look at is the Russian model. This is probability, and the idea from the Russian model is that we've got a warmer than average summer being seen here for most of Europe. The most deep red colour, so temperatures, coming out way above average. The probability is way above average for the temperatures through the course of this summer, a very warm summer being predicted by the Russian model. For the precipitation forecast, again, it's not such a strong signal. We're in most white colour, so I don't think we've really got a particularly strong signal there for rainfall this summer. Got some sort of high pressure, I think, sitting in the Atlantic though, because the probability there is that we're coming out below normal with the rainfall in the central part of the Atlantic. So the jet stream probably running through something like that. So it could actually be seeing a jet stream coming into the country. Excuse me, possibly bring some unsettled conditions in at times, but that's all very speculative. The main thing to take from Russian model is that we're in for quite a warmish sort of summer. Next one to look at is from Hugh van der Dul. This is a little bit different. This is analog based forecast. What Hugh does is he has a look at the sea surface temperature anomalies across the globe in any given month. It's actually generated in April. And then from that temperature pattern that is across the globe, those sea surface temperature anomalies, he looks at past years that had similar sea surface temperature anomalies and creates an analog-based forecast on that. So what he's going for the summer is that have some sort of high pressure ridge up over Greenland, above average heights up there, below average heights out in the Atlantic, and then another ridge above average heights sitting over Scandinavia. Quite a complicated pattern, but I think generally between the trough in the Atlantic, the ridge up to the northeast, winds are from a sea or south sea direction. It's not a cold summer, certainly. I think winds are generally from south, some southwest, maybe sometimes the southeast. Not a cold summer, but perhaps on times with that trough. Anomalies through the summer indicated to be coming out above average. So yeah, summer being seen there, say, not rising. Winds are generally from a southerly or southwesterly or perhaps at times southeasterly direction, but certainly at some point from the south, so quite a warm sort of summer been indicated. For the precipitation forecast, again, the signal is not as strong. We've got average sort of precipitation being indicated there. So again, the idea is that we haven't got a particularly strong signal for the precipitation, but for the temperature, yeah, kind of warmer than average signal definitely being indicated. The next model to look at is that from the Beijing Climate Centre, and what we're seeing here is an area of above average height to the north and extending up towards Scandinavia. That's close to being pretty good, a pretty good pattern, but we've got weaker pressure down to the south of the country, got low pressure sitting to the south, so it's perhaps better for Scotland and worse for England and Wales, where we could at times get low pressure coming up from the south, maybe bringing some thundery rain. The temperature forecast for the summer, northern areas are close to being warm above average, but southern parts of the country, England and Wales, much closer to normal. Nowhere particularly cold, although Ireland comes out below average, but I think basically the idea is that it's warmer to the north and nearer normal down to the south, but it's quite a complicated pattern. As we go through to the rainfall forecast from the Beijing Climate Centre for the summer, again it's drier up to the north, that's where I've got the ridge of high pressure to the north of the country. It's wetter down to the south, and at times we could be bringing up really quite thundery conditions perhaps from the south into England and Wales. So what I would take from that is that it could be quite a warm summer. I don't think temperatures would be too bad, but I think it could be unsettled, particularly for the south, and maybe quite thundery. There could be a notable number of thunderstorms with that from the Beijing Climate Centre. Jamso Coyote next. We're warmer than average here on this model for the summer. Most of Eurasia is very warm as well. Look at that. Virtually the whole of Eurasia coming out warmer than average. Very warm summer being indicated. We are within that, so it is going to be above average in terms of the temperatures this summer. A cool summer though, or even quite a cold summer being indicated for most of the United States. Quite interesting. As we go through to the precipitation forecast, interesting again because the United States coming out wetter than average, or certainly central and eastern parts of the states, but breadbasket, so called. Yeah, we've got above average precipitation there, above average rainfall, so a cool wet summer for the central body of the United States. For us, the signal for precipitation is again a lot weak on the side of slightly drier than average, but there's not really a strong signal there for precipitation. So a pattern is emerging, a trend trend is emerging here through these models in that the temperature anomaly is very good, very strong, warmer than average summer, but for precipitation not as strong. Generally indicating average sort of precipitation, but again, I don't think the signal is particularly strong. Let's have a look at the Korean model next. I've looked at this in past videos, so again, as with JMA, I don't want to miss too much. This again is broken down into monthly periods, and for June, we're in those orange colours there, so above average height, sitting across the country, high pressure dominating, really quite a good June being signalled. Then the deterioration, it's the same idea from the JMA, deterioration starts to take place as we go through to July. Things are weakening, so it's a transitional month really, I think, through July. We're transitioning from that good pattern we had in June to a much more unsettled pattern, but we're going to end up with in August, and July is when that transition takes place. So here we are, go through to August. You've seen this before in past videos, but I'll show you it again. By the time you get through to August, we've got a trough of low pressure sitting across the country. It's much more unsettled, and it's a lot cooler. Oh, so the Korean and the Japanese are in agreement in this idea that we start off good for June, have a good pattern in June, it's warmer and drier, and then it deteriorates and gets worse as we go through the summer, and we end up at really a very poor August indeed. Next one to look at is the Brazilian model. Well, it's a little bit different, this one, because we've got the blue colours here indicating above average heights, high pressure, and the red colours indicating below average heights, which is low pressure. It's always different, this 500 millibar anomaly. What we've got is high pressure sitting down to the southwest around the Azores, originating into central parts of Europe. What red and pink up here to the north is deep low pressure, so a very unsettled pattern for the Arctic this summer, if this is right. And in between the two, I'll just highlight it, we've got really quite a strong jet stream being indicated here. So although on the face of it the anomalies don't look too bad, because the jet stream is very strong coming in off the Atlantic, it actually turns out to be quite an unsettled summer. So let's have a look at temperature signal first of all, and not particularly exciting. We're coming out maybe average to slightly above average with the temperatures this summer. But more interestingly is the precipitation forecast, because we're coming out with really quite a wet summer actually being signalled there, particularly to the north of the rainfall coming out quite a bit above average. And again, the reason that's happening is that I think we've got a strong jet stream here coming across the country, and then probably setting sort of trough to the east of the country. So quite interesting really with Brazilian model, because the 500 millibar prediction doesn't look too bad on the surface, but once you get into the detail of the model, actually it's not nearly half as good, and really quite an unsettled summer being signalled there by the Brazilian. The CFS version 2 model next. This is the 700 millibar height anomaly prediction for the summer. Got above average heights being signalled here up to the east and the northeast of the country. That's pretty good. Be generally from a southerly, southeasterly, possibly at times easterly direction. So you would expect a warmer than average summer in that sort of scenario. Not desperately warmer than average, but note how warm most of central low countries, Denmark up in towards Scandinavia, in those warm average temperatures. Signal not all that strong for the British Isles, but if anything I think we'll be erring on the side of warmer than average with that 700 millibar height prediction. The precipitation forecast shows that it's wetter than average to the south of the country, so Spain, Portugal, some parts of France coming out wetter than average, up that its centre. Actually, that the ridge I think is a little bit entered further towards us and around Scandinavia, as opposed to being the fine line. If we get the high pressure there, that's pretty good, because we bring in easterly southeast flows and we keep all this wet weather south of the country. If we set the high pressure up further north, so somewhere around, then we're at risk of bringing rain, these wetter than average conditions up from the south and from the southwest. Nevertheless, on either scenario, it's probably not a particularly cold, it's probably quite a warmish summer. Quickly breaking it down into monthly periods, here we have 700 millibar height anomaly for June. Again, we've got the high pressure strongly sitting around and to the north of the country. It does look like a good June. Low pressure being pushed down to the south, jet stream going something like that, splitting around that ridge. So yeah, that's a pretty good June. Would be warmer than average on the basis of that, and probably quite dry as well. As we move through to July, well, still the idea that the high pressure is to the east of the country, to the northeast of the country, although it is being pushed back more towards west parts of Russia and around the Baltic Sea. So again, maybe we're transitioning to a slightly more unsettled pattern, probably bringing the jet stream in a little bit more through the course of July, and then going on into August. It will click over. We lose the high pressure to the northeast, and the suggestion that we've got some sort of ridge above average heights around Iceland. So again, maybe a deteriorating summer type pattern on the basis of the CFS. I think we lose the ridge up to the north and northeast, probably strengthen the jet stream by the time we get through to August, and we're also probably setting up some sort of high pressure to the north around Iceland. So maybe a deterioration taking place through the summer from the pattern we have in June through to a much more unsettled pattern through by the time we get through to August, perhaps. Next model we're going to look at, in fact the last model that we're going to look at for this update, so we're nearly getting towards the end, is our own, the Met Office, UK Met Office. This is the sea level pressure anomaly for the summer. Again, the idea is got high pressure to the north and to the northeast. Low pressure is down to the south of the country. Again, on the face of it, that doesn't look too bad. Let's have a look at the detail on that. And yeah, warm summer being indicated here. Temperatures anomalies are coming out above average in those orange colours, so really quite a very warm summer. Temperature anomaly is up to around a degree, maybe a degree and a half above average. That'd be a very pleasant summer, very warm. If that's what you like, of course. Some of my viewers I know don't like temperature anomalies, warm temperature anomalies through the summer. So if you don't like it, it's not a good news for you. But if you do like warm conditions in the summer, then that is a pretty decent anomaly. Precipitation anomaly, though, is coming out through the summer, actually a little bit wetter than average. So it's that idea again that maybe we're bringing in southerly flow, so it's quite warm, but it could also be quite unsettled. As we go through, just want to quickly show you this for the anomaly for July, August, September, so going through to the latter summer period. Then we're taking that high pressure out. We're taking it out to the northwest of the country, so we're taking it from there and moving it over to there, setting it up around Iceland and Greenland. The result of that is that we get low pressure, below average heights developing to the south and the southeast of the country, and we're probably bringing in a much cooler northeasterly or northerly flow. With that, I'll just clear that out of the way, but between those two, we're probably bringing in a much cooler northeasterly flow on the basis of that sort of setup. So again, that probably, it's always hard to decipher too much for these long range models, but it probably indicates this idea of a deteriorating pattern, and that is something that's cropping up quite a bit through these updates. That we're starting off really good through June. We're very warm, possibly quite dry at times. Yeah, really good anomaly. It lasts perhaps into the start of July, but July transitions, turns more unsettled by the time you get through to late summer in August. It really is turning very unsettled then, and a lot cooler, possibly quite wet. Now, do I think that's how things are going to pan out? Well, to be honest, I'm not sure on that one. My suspicion is that we're going to have a warmer than average summer. I do think anomalies through this summer are going to come out above average, maybe up to a degree or a degree and a half above average. So a warm summer, probably not a classic, because I think there'll be unsettled conditions at times, particularly for England and Wales, perhaps, interestingly. So not a classic summer, but I do think temperature will be above average this summer, a warm summer coming up. Precipitation, I think, comes out above average, potentially for England and Wales, drier than average for the north and the northeast of the country. So that's quite interesting, a little bit different to what you would normally expect. So potentially it's wetter in the south and drier in the north. And this idea that we're transitioning from a good start to a much more unsettled second half, I'm not sure about it. I'd rate the risk of that happening somewhere around 20%. It is occurring within these models, but by the time we get through to August, of course, we're going towards the extended range of these longer range models. So there is the chance that that's what's going to happen, but I wouldn't rate the chance of it no more than around 20%. But if it does occur, then we'll know about it, because August could be the worst of it. So, hedging my bets a little bit for this update. I'm not really all that convinced about this deteriorating summer pattern idea, but I'll be keeping an eye on it. But the overall prediction is that we're going to have a warm summer. Temperatures will be coming out above average overall through the course of the summer. Precipitation is interesting because I think the south is wetter than the north, where it's drier, and that could well encompass a greater than average incidence and risk of thunderstorms and thundery rain down across the south as those areas of low pressure push up from the south at times. So really quite an interesting summer actually. There's some quite an unusual pattern to what we normally get. The best of it probably for the north, warmer than average and a little bit wetter than average in the south. That's the prediction for the summer from GazWeatherViz.com. We'll be moving on to autumn next month, and actually I have a very quick sneak peek at it on the blog tonight. So if you're interested in what may be happening for August, come back to the blog. I'll do a bit of a written post on the autumn there. But the videos for the autumn will be starting next month from June. So that's it for now. I hope you found the video interesting. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.